The day a teen thief stole my car with my baby inside. I never thought I'd have to say this. The HOA president's son stole my SUV with my newborn daughter strapped in the back seat. He claimed he was just taking it for a spin. The only thing tested that day was my ability to stay calm instead of losing it completely. My name's Jim Harper, and this is the story of how one reckless kid, his manipulative mother, and a quiet suburban neighborhood turned my life into a nightmare and how I fought back. It all started in our peaceful corner of Willow Creek, a tidy suburb outside Charlotte, North Carolina. Our mornings were filled with birdsong, the smell of fresh coffee, and the soft coos of our baby girl, Emma. My wife, Laura, and I had just settled into our new home, a cozy two-story with a small garden we'd planted for Emma's future. But tranquility vanished when Patricia Coleman took over as HOA president. She turned our neighborhood into her fiefdom, issuing fines for crooked mailbox flags and measuring lawns with a ruler. Her son, Dylan, was her golden boy, untouchable despite his trail of trouble vandalizing park benches, setting off firecrackers at midnight. Patricia called it youthful energy. I called it chaos. That Thursday, the summer heat was brutal. I pulled into our driveway, Emma asleep in her car seat, the SUV's AC humming to keep her cool. The garage door jammed halfway up, a pebble stuck in the track. I grabbed a ladder, left the engine running, and got to work. That's when Dylan rolled up on his beat-up BMX, all smirks and restless energy. "Need a hand, Mr. Harper?" he asked, his tone dripping with teenage arrogance. I didn't trust him. His reputation for reckless stunts preceded him, but I needed to fix the door fast. "Just hold the ladder," I said, figuring he couldn't mess that up. I was wrong. As I crouched to clear the track, a sudden crash shook the air. The garage door slammed down, pinning my fingers against the concrete. Pain exploded through my hand, and my key fob skittered across the driveway. Before I could react, Dylan snatched it, sprinted to my SUV, and jumped in. "Hey, stop!" I screamed, yanking my crushed fingers free. The engine roared, tires squealed, and he sped off with Emma inside. My heart stopped. I ran after him, legs burning, dialing 911 with trembling hands. "My car's been stolen. My baby's in it," I shouted, barely hearing the dispatcher over my pounding pulse. Dylan tore through our quiet street, far too fast for the curves. At the neighborhood's entrance, he misjudged a turn, fishtailed, and plowed through the HOA's new marble Signa $10,000 monstrosity Patricia had insisted on. The SUV veered into the path of an oncoming car, Patricia's sleek BMW. The crash was deafening, metal crumpling like paper. I reached the wreckage, heart in my throat, and yanked open the back door. Emma was wailing, eyes wide, but alive, her car seat a miracle of engineering. I unbuckled her, clutching her to my chest, tears streaming down my face. "It's okay, sweetheart. Daddy's here." Patricia stumbled out of her BMW, hair disheveled, fury etched on her face. She didn't check on Dylan, slumped against the airbag, or ask about Emma. Instead, she pointed at me. "This is your fault, Harper. You set him up to ruin my car." I stared, dumbfounded. My daughter had nearly died, and she was blaming me? Sirens wailed as police arrived. I shouted, "Arrest him. He stole my car with my child." But before the officer could respond, Patricia lunged at me, her rage blinding her. She misjudged her target and slammed into the young cop, her fist grazing his jaw. His expression hardened. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for assaulting an officer," he said, cuffing her as she shrieked about her rights. Dylan, pale and shaken, was cuffed too. For a moment, watching them on the curb, I thought justice had arrived. But Patricia wasn't done. She was released on bail, shockingly low for assaulting a cop. Dylan's charges were softened to reckless driving, instead of grand theft. Worse, the HOA, still under Patricia's thumb, fined me for an improperly secured vehicle causing a neighborhood disturbance. Laura, terrified, suggested we move. "This place is toxic, Jim. She'll never stop." But I couldn't run. Patricia had endangered my family. I had to fight back not with fists, but with evidence. I started digging. Our neighbor, Frank, a retired mechanic with a knack for gossip, tipped me off about Patricia's shady HOA deals. Fees had skyrocketed since she took over, but park upkeep was worse than ever. A landscaping contract went to a company called Green Vista Solutions for triple the usual cost, and their work was shoddy. Another deal involved an overpriced pool fence, justified by a non-existent safety code. I pored over HOA records, public filings, and local business registries, fueled by coffee and outrage. Green Vista and the fence company, AquaSafe Systems, were shells, their payments funneled through multiple accounts to lease a warehouse Unit 14C in a rundown industrial park. Then Frank mentioned something odd. Dylan's name appeared on a zoning form for that warehouse. Why was a 16-year-old tied to a sketchy property? I drove to the industrial park, a grim maze of graffiti-covered buildings. Unit 14C was locked, but a new padlock hinted at activity. I waited, watching from a distance, until a white van pulled up. A man in a baseball cap backed it inside, the door slamming shut. I couldn't see what they were moving, but my gut screamed trouble. I called an old colleague, Mike, now a private investigator. He dug into Unit 14C and confirmed my worst fears. It was a front for stolen electronics TVs, laptops, gaming consoles likely from recent store break-ins. The kicker? HOA funds, siphoned through Patricia's shell companies, paid the warehouse's rent. And Dylan? He'd been seen unloading vans there. This wasn't just embezzlement. It was organized crime, with a teenager as his mother's pawn. I scoured Dylan's social media, public and careless. One photo showed him in a dim storage space, with stacks of electronics boxes in the background. Another had him wearing a high-end headset stolen in a recent burglary. It was damning, but I needed more. The annual HOA meeting was 2 weeks away, a perfect stage to expose Patricia. But first, I needed proof from Unit 14C. Frank called with a golden opportunity. Dylan had crashed Patricia's spare SUV into his prized azaleas and was rushing to the warehouse to grab something for her. He sounded rattled, distracted. I grabbed my camera, gloves, and a burner phone, my heart racing. At Unit 14C, the door was ajar, the padlock dangling. Inside, Dylan was stacking boxes, muttering to himself. The warehouse was a thief's dream. Piles of TVs, computers, and consoles. I snapped photos, then spotted a ledger on a desk, dates, item descriptions, coded initials. I photographed every page, my pulse pounding. Then Dylan turned. "Who the hell are you?" he shouted, eyes wide. I held my ground. "This is over, Dylan. Your mom's using HOA money to fund stolen goods. You're in deep." He stammered, denying it, but his bravado crumbled. "She says it's for her clients," he mumbled, looking like a scared kid. I urged him to come clean, but my burner phone buzzed. Frank texted that Patricia was on her way, furious. I had to move. As I reached the door, it rolled up, revealing Patricia, a crowbar in hand. "Going somewhere, Harper?" she hissed. "You've been a busy snoop." She saw the camera, the ledger, and her face twisted with rage. "Give me that camera," she snarled, lunging. I dodged, the crowbar smashing into a stack of boxes. Dylan yelled, "Mom, stop!" but she raised it again. Sirens wailed. Closing an eye called 911 and Mike. Patricia froze, panic overtaking her. Police stormed in, ordering everyone to freeze. Patricia dropped the crowbar, her fight gone. Dylan stepped forward, trembling. "It was her," he said, pointing at his mother. "She made me do it. I have texts on my phone." Patricia's face crumpled, betrayed by her son. Officers cuffed her, and Mike arrived, nodding grimly. It was over. Patricia faced a slew of charges: embezzlement, money laundering, receiving stolen property, and assault. Her lawyers couldn't save her. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Dylan, for cooperating, got probation and counseling. The HOA elected Frank as president, who vowed to end the petty fines. Willow Creek felt alive again. Neighbors smiled, kids played, and our garden bloomed brighter. Emma grew, blissfully unaware of the chaos. Laura and I rebuilt our peace, though I'd never forget the fear of that day. One evening, Frank stopped by, chuckling. Heard Patricia tried to get gourmet coffee in prison. They said it violated beverage uniformity standards. I laughed. Some rules, it seems, even she couldn't dodge. What do you think? This story raises tough questions about justice, violence, and standing up to bullies. Would you have fought like Jim, or walked away? How far is too far when protecting your family? Share your thoughts in the comments. Would love to hear your perspective on confronting injustice in your own life.